Hi, my name is Akhil.
Hi, my name is Aniq.
My name is Clemens.
Welcome to Real Shit.
How did Hyperia start, man?
Oh, very long story. So basically, I used to wash cars. I used to work at the chemist. I worked 2 jobs beforehand. I was washing cars at my friend's car yard, and then we were just talking about how we always wanted to open up a business.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what to open up. So basically, we were talking, and then he was like, "Bro, you always take good photos of the cars. You always take good photos and videos of the cars." So I was like, But I knew, like, in videography, it's hard to scale. So I was like, what can I do to make sure my business scales up really, really far? So I was looking into a lot of research and stuff like that. So I came up to social media marketing. So shout out Jawad, by the way, for having me at that car yard, and it sparked the idea in my head at the start. But yeah, so basically how my first client started as well, like the first move of Hyperia started was when one of my first client had an event coming up, especially like for Mercedes, and they had a cruise, a barbecue and stuff like that. And at that point, I was only filming with my phone. Yeah. The same phone right here. And this commemorates my first client as well, Hyperia Customs.
Oh, that's dope, man. Yeah.
But yeah, just to, like, you know, give them thanks and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's how it started. So 2 of my partners from Melbourne, Omar and Rami, we're all from the same school, Icon. Shout out Icon. And then, so basically Omar is a videographer, a cinematographer, all of that. He does films and sort of like that. And Rami, he was always smart. He was always so smart in these kind of things. And I always knew that he was into social media marketing since we were in year 10, which is when we were 16-ish.
Oh shit, yeah.
So
yeah, 16. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, like, yeah, Sec 4. So basically, I always had both of them in mind the whole time, but I just didn't want to say it out loud. So I just kept it quiet for a bit. I wanted to research more into this business model. And then it came year 12, poly. It came year 12, poly, and then me and Omar started to get closer and closer. And then I brought it up to him after year 12 camp, poly camp. And then, we were like, okay, done, let's do it. Come see my clients, I'll see yours. As soon as I came back to Singapore, I just wanted a manager. Yeah. I needed a manager to take care of the whole Singapore side as well. A CEO, as you can say. So I was like, you know, and one day I just wanted to link back up with my primary school mate, Akhil. We've known together since P1 to P5. When was that? How old was that?
Primary 1 is 7 years old. 7, so 7, 8.
Same
10,
class,
11.
since P1 to P5.
So until 7 to 11 years old.
So basically, yeah, we had, what was it, lunch? We had lunch in Raffles, very random, you know what I mean? And then he was telling me about email marketing and his background, and I was like, oh, you know what? Might as well. Yeah. Because I'm having a hard time finding other people. Might as well find someone that I trust. Yeah. Put someone in I trust. So I was like, okay, then let's see how it goes. Now in August, like, yeah, it's going really well. Like, good job, man.
From what? How many months ago was it?
It's been around 5 to 6 months.
From February.
Yeah, February.
Just
as soon as I came back from Dubai, and then bang.
Trialing out to soft launching to fully hard launching out. It's been a crazy 7-8 months.
Back then when, you know, I was in poly, right, there was like what, 17, 18, I figured that videos, photos, videos would be a really good market in the future. At that time, it wasn't really big because a lot of businesses were still very brick and mortar. And there was this old mindset of wanting to keep things very old school, right? Physical marketing. It wasn't a very big market back then, but I figured that this would be something that would work out in the future. So I kind of picked up a camera and I just started learning the foundations, you know, figuring out how to take good photos, take good videos. And then COVID came by, and that's when a lot of businesses kind of went into the online space. And that's when the demand for photos and videos and social media marketing like really boomed. 100%. There, right? Like I'm sure for both of us, we saw a very big increase in clients at that time, when a lot of people realized, yo, I gotta shutter my physical business, but I can keep it online and I can still like sell things out of my home. And that's also when a lot of businesses started up too, right? When a lot of people didn't have much to do when people unfortunately got laid off and all. They started their own businesses, and that's when a lot of people realized that they need some form of presence on the online space, like Instagram, like TikTok, like Facebook, so on and so forth. So that's where I stepped in. I decided like, hey, this is a really good avenue to start a business, and that's basically how I started, right? As an individual freelancing just by myself, and along the way, along my life journey in school, in the dance community, I've met a lot of other like-minded creatives, a lot of individuals who, beyond whatever they are already doing, they are interested in arts in general, like photos, like videos, like marketing, like graphic design, web development, so on and so forth, all these different stuff. So that's when I started to work with some of my friends, who I soon hired into the team, and that's when essentially I kind of started this team. It wasn't anything official yet, it was just, hey, let's work together, let's do this thing together, and it slowly blossomed into something a lot bigger, right? Where we are starting to take a lot of bigger projects, things that couldn't just be done by one person. That's when I got some of my friends to come in, and I realized, hey, working with these few people makes things a lot easier because we have this chemistry, right? Of what I need and I know what you can do, and then that's when we work very well together. You can just use my equipment, you're used to my equipment, so on and so forth. And that's where I took some of them in. I made them official under the team. I trained some of them up with my own skills, and that's essentially the people that I go to. Definitely the first few people that I go to when I have jobs, gigs, projects that require more people, or sometimes when I'm not available, then they will take over my role, right? And now essentially we are five men strong. I have 4 people under me, and things are picking up at a very big pace. Working with new clients, working with old clients again, and yeah, just excited to see where this all takes us.
This is good.
Alright, so how do you guys get your clients? Like, what's the secret sauce in getting clients to work with you guys?
Lately, we haven't spent ads at all.
Yeah.
No ad spend at all. It's basically all word of mouth. You know what I mean? You want to say some stuff?
Yeah, word of mouth I feel is very important. Building like a good set of connection, a good round of people, a small circle that you're really tight with, and over time, the more you are in this industry, over time the circle just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the more people you work with, they go around, talk to other people, tell them about the people that you work with, and then Hyperia, the name just goes out. People talk about, I shot with this, I shot with them, and then when they reach out to their other people, their other friends who own businesses as well, and they realize that they need social media marketing, for them it's very easy to then come to us because they've already worked with someone who's had like a prior experience with us, so they'll know that it's trustable, good services.
Personally as well, like when we first started the company in Melbourne, it was actually just 3 clients straight.
Yeah.
From that, it went up to 5. From that, it went up to 10. From that, it went up to 15. You know what I mean? So it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is very powerful.
I think for me, we also do a lot of word of mouth. I think beyond word of mouth, we have to also consider the concept of relationship building, right? Like building the clientele is great, but if for us as business owners, right, we keep thinking that a client is a client, it kind of just stops there, right? The way we treat them is just, 100%. I'm here to work with you. You're gonna pay me money. I'm just gonna do something for you, right? If our relationship kind of just stops there, it gets very difficult to scale our businesses because we are always in this mindset of a very transactional business.
Yeah.
We have to think that we have to understand, as new age businessmen, that relationships are just as important as the transactional side of things, right? Transactional is purely on the business sense. It's what keeps us afloat. It's what feeds us, and, keeps our stomach full. But we also have to consider that in terms of BD, in terms of business development, when we are trying to grow our business, scale it up, right, we have to forge very good relationships with our clientele. Yeah. We have to understand exactly what are their pain points, what are they going through, and what are the good stuff in their businesses that you can help to highlight. At the end of the day, we have to also realize and understand that a project never exactly ends when we kind of wrap it up, right? Because our relationship with this client still continues. We never want to try to burn bridges as much as possible. Sometimes it's unfortunate that it has to be done. Sometimes when, let's say, like a client is being unreasonable, or we are unable to bring the value to the clients. right? And maybe in that sense, okay, we can refer someone else that we know, that we trust, that the client are able to work with together, right? Then okay, client's happy, friends happy, no problem, right? But I've had multiple instances when I close a project with a client and they come back to me 1, 2, 3 years later and they're like, hey, remember me from this one project back then, you know, we did this together, I'm in need of this thing, are you able to help? And it's not exactly word of mouth because it's the same person, but it's always great that we are able to end off or close a project with a client that, you know, we are both very happy about everything. You know, we are happy about the experience, the client is happy with the end product, and of course the experience. And from there, they remember, hey, I worked with these people before, and anytime anything crops up where they are in need of our services, they will instantly think of us first because they remember that they had a good time with us back then.
So how does packaging work in our type of industry?
So I think for us, when it comes to packaging, the basic concept of packaging is putting different services together, or sometimes even the same service but multifaceted service, right? So like for example, in my case, when we talk about videography, there's mainly 2 types when it comes to events. We talk about archival videography, which kind of records the whole thing. It's usually a static camera that's just recording like for hours on end. And then we have recap videography, which is small snippets that we'll put into like a highlight video at the end of the day. So a lot of clients come to us and say like, hey, I want this specific video. Like let's say they would just want a recap video, but sometimes we also realize that, hey, archival might work out for them too, right? So we're saying, hey, we can do what you are looking for. How about we add on these things to, you know, we have all these other stuff. And this also works the same thing with like social media, where, you know, we are offering like reels, we can also offer photos, we can also offer like graphic design, and even like for the business, website development works very well. And beyond this kind of packaging, like this basic definition of packaging, I think every business needs to have this basic like 3 tiers of packages, right? Like a basic one, and then we have an intermediate level, then a premium service, only for like the big clients who can really afford us or afford it. And the basic should be as affordable as possible, while making sure that we are being paid for the value we are bringing in, right? This is made to be as accessible to anybody and everybody as much as possible. And then we go up. Some clients want to have a little bit more, right? And these are the packages that usually will provide a little bit more, of course, for a little bit more of a quote, a higher price. And of course, the premium is where we really serve the client like servants, you know, where we are really like giving them exactly what they need, giving even more creative control to them, or if they want us to have the creative control, we are able to come up with more creative items or more creative deliverables for them. So this is where like the premium really goes up, right? So these are the basic 3 tiers that every businesses, I feel, should definitely have.
Yeah, we go by the same thing as well, 3 tiers. One is the basic level, intermediate, and then...
I mean, I think it's really important, not just for, you know, getting the value that we're paid for, but it's also very important for a business to consumer relationship, because I mean, we have 3 packages, so obviously it goes from the least expensive to the most expensive, and then obviously there'll be a variety of services in those packages. It doesn't make sense for maybe a client who doesn't need everything that's included in the, you know, the mega package, you know. And, you know, maybe they're looking for something a bit lesser, they're looking for videography, photography, but they don't need stuff like campaign ads and stuff. So it's very important to have 3 different packages so that they are, you know, not overpaying, because there's no point paying like maybe like 2K, but you're not using some of the services that are in the package. It's not good on us, and it's not good for them, because they'll be wasting money and we'll be taking money for no reason, and that's just a bad rep on us. So I think it's very important to have 3 separate packages so that we can cater to a different type of clientele that is coming to us.
And at the same time, I think for us, when it comes to business, like in the social media realm, on the digital realm, right? I think having these 3 tiers are really, really important. But at the same time, I feel a lot of businesses who also offer this kind of packages or bundles, right? They tend to be very strict, you know, about what they offer, and it always feels like a multiple choice that clients have to choose A, B, or C, and that's it. You know, if there are some clients, right, want certain things in like the premium package, but they don't need so many of it, right? So let's say your lowest, your basic level package, right, you don't provide like photos at all, right? Let's just say that, but the client and of course you provide that in the premium level package, and the client wants the photos. In fact, the clients want more photos and videos. Then, you know, for a business like that, how do you kind of settle like this package? How do you quote the client? How do you provide such services and tell them, actually, if you want photos, you got to go for premium package? And that goes back to the same issue of client is paying more than what they should be, and we are doing too much work because the client doesn't even need that, right? So I think for businesses providing these kind of packages, right, we also have to be modular in that sense, in the sense where we are able to take apart these packages and put them back together to form like a specialized package catering specifically to the client.
Yeah.
This gives a lot of back-end issues to us because how do we quote these kind of things, right? It's not exactly, oh, just 3 quotes and we just call it.
Right? We don't have like a specific kind of charge for each service that we have, because we don't know what lengths of work we're going to put us through and stuff like that. So basically it's a thing where we have to discuss stuff like this a week beforehand. A planning process beforehand, so we can get all this shit together.
Let's talk about time. So I think for a lot of us as like business owners, right, we also understand that beyond making like business moves, beyond doing certain things or launching something, right, timing is very, very important. Knowing when to do something or when not to do something is just as important. So what do you guys think about like timing in this sense?
Especially how you approach a business move is very important. Timing is very important. Let's just say, for example, someone you're going to go into business with, especially if you know them on a relationship type of level, say they have like a close friend that died or passed away, you're not going to approach them in terms of, oh, let's collaborate at this time. You know what I mean? Especially you got to see when the timing is right and so on.
I would probably take timing in a more literal concept, maybe talking about how to, in a way, launch a business in like which period of time do you do it. So for example, COVID I think was don't get me wrong, terrible time, but good for us because of the industry we worked in. So like people, they can't do marketing physically, so they have to move on the digital side. So for us, people who want to venture into the digital marketing scene, that's a very good time to capitalize on because everything is shifted online.
Yeah, especially like e-com brands and stuff like that. It really boomed during the COVID period as well. So that's a really good timing to push upon that.
But if I think about it now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because obviously the market is more saturated. Those who have wanted to explore have already made their name. But you have to always look out for time periods that will be beneficial to you and capitalize on that. I think that's very
but it's
important.
also good in that way. Like the audience, especially after COVID, like they see the power of social media. So in terms of that, it's a really great timing to get into the business and having your business on social media as well.
When it comes to timing in a business, I think timing is definitely very important. So a lot of business owners don't understand the importance of timing in making a business move, in striking when the iron is hot. When we talk about things like COVID, like a pandemic, right? Like you said, it's not good in general, but for our business, for our industry, it was good because I think it shifted the mindset towards understanding that digital marketing is very, very important for businesses beyond just the physical space, the brick and mortar space, right? So I think that shift of mindset helped us a lot. It wasn't just because of everybody, there was lockdown, you had to stay at home, people had nothing to do when business started up. It's more of that mindset shift. I think beyond that, like things like launching a new service, hiring someone new, these are all business moves that really require that a lot of thinking beforehand. You need to understand that when you choose to launch a service or when you choose not to launch a service is very important, because for us as business owners, we always have something at the back of our head, like are we ready to do something new? Should I keep working on this current product that I'm pushing out to the market, or should I come up with something new, right? And striking that balance is very important because we need to have good products to sell out, but if we stay in a very specific niche, it's very difficult, right? So having that certain timing to decide, okay, now my current products are doing well, they can be improved, but I think it's time to push something new out, and that's probably the correct time to do that. And at the end of the day, I think timing, when it comes to business moves, is really solely up to the owner. Only he or she will know that the time is right. As outsiders, as even employees, we wouldn't understand the thought process behind a certain move or certain decision, and only that person who makes it will understand that. A lot of people who are parts of an organization are never able to see the big picture. They will never be able to, because the ones at the top are the thinkers, right? They are the ones who have the grand plan laid out on the table. They see everything, and once you're under someone, it's a little bit more difficult to really see exactly what is planned out, because some of it is already on the table, some of it has already been explained. But when it comes to things that are still in the works, things that are still in the head, nobody can see that. As much as you try to articulate it out, right? So people as business owners, as the top, right, it's very difficult to share that vision. So there's always questions. People who are outside of the organization who don't understand shit at all. People who are even within the organization who may question certain moves that you're doing. Why are you doing this? Why are you saying this thing? And as much as you try to explain to them, most of the time it will work because they understand your position. But half the time, or maybe even, most of the time, they may not.
That brings me to my point.
Yeah?
Do you know how many people talked so much shit when I was like, why the hell would you bring Hyperia to Singapore when you have circumstances like national service?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? But the thing is, in my head, I planned in Hyperia Singapore a year ago.
Yeah.
How am I gonna execute it while NS and stuff like that? But people didn't know that, you know what I mean? So they all were like, "Why? That's the dumbest business move I've ever seen." Moving down to Singapore, especially in the corporate world as well. Yeah. I didn't tell anyone about my decision, other than my business partners, Omar and Rami. But this is before I executed, and I was like, "Okay, am I gonna bring Hyperia Singapore to Singapore?" When I initially told Omar and Rami, they were like, especially business partners, they're gonna want the best of you, yeah?
Yeah.
So basically, when I told them, I was like, are you sure this is the right decision or not? And I told them the whole blueprint. They were like, okay, go ahead. We got you. We got your back.
I think a lot of people misunderstand the concept
100%.
of idea versus execution.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume that they're together. That means I come up with an idea today, I execute it today. That is, most of the time, it will never really happen that way. Most of the time, a lot of us, we have these ideas at the most random times possible. You're like, you know what will work? This one thing.
100%.
And that one thing, usually, if it's good, if it's great for the business, if it will work out, it is never a thing where you can implement it the next day. You need to gather that resources and really do your research, your market research, and understanding what is really required of you to really execute this plan. And only when you're ready, in terms of timing, few days, weeks, months, years, whatever it takes, then you execute. But people only see the execution part of it, and then they think, oh, the idea came yesterday. So people link these together in their head, but they need to understand that ideas and execution are separate. They are linked in a sense because they are under the same branch, but these two phases may have a long duration of time in between. It could be years. Yeah. So I think a lot of clients have this big misunderstanding about things like what is engagement, what is impressions, right? And a lot of clients keep thinking that, oh, views are really important, likes are really important, right? But I think they also fail to see that other metrics also plays a very big part in all of this. So what do you guys think about this?
I mean, I feel obviously as a social media marketing agency, views is one of the most important because as we our job is to get them the most amount of reach as possible. You want to reach the largest audience possible so that the most amount of people can see the content and they can consume the content. But I feel like what comes in second, or maybe even first, is the engagement. I feel like some people they have a certain amount of like goal, view goal that they want to reach and they don't hit it and they get upset. But I think they fail to see the whole point of marketing. This isn't just like we're just posting the video. We're trying to get you sales. We're trying to get you more money coming in as well. More leads that you can close. So I think that's where the engagement part comes in. You post something up, you get comments, you get replies to your stories, people who are interested in your service, interested in your product. Likes doesn't get you the money, views doesn't get you the money, that gets you the reach. But the comments, the replies, the people who are interested, the people that approach you for your service and you're able to close them, I think that's what gets you the money, you know what I mean?
With some clients that we face, I feel like there'll be a month where we have a testing month, and that month we'll have a lot of views and we'll go viral and stuff like that. But the second month, when we do some content, the views were low, but the leads were more. Because there was more engagement and stuff like that. In terms of engagement versus impressions is when as you said, on TikTok or Instagram Reels, when you're scrolling, that's one impression.
Yeah.
When you scroll, that's one impression. But in terms of views and engagement, that's after 3 seconds of watching the video and stuff like that. What really matters is the replies, is the engagement that you get from your content and stuff like that. And obviously, what clients need to also understand is that it takes a lot of time, especially going down the organic route.
Yes.
And that's what we push most of the time. Yes, maybe some days, okay, the views aren't doing really well. And that's because if you're going down the organic route, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But then maybe next month, we've seen a lot of instances like this where, okay, first month, it's going really well, and then you expect it to be the same the next month. Next month is going really low, but you get 1 or 2 leads.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you come to me, why is it doing really bad? Da, 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 da. Next month, it shoots up. And then after that, maybe it goes up, maybe it stays stagnant, and it's just up and down like that. But it always gradually goes up.
How are we able to generate like large volumes of content? Like let's say like you guys can push out like 30 videos a month, right, for a client.
30 videos.
Yeah. So
if we really pushed it at the start, we were doing upwards to, first of all, shooting and pushing out is different.
Yeah.
We can shoot up to, if we're really pushing it, 100 short forms a day.
That's crazy.
No, that's like no fact, like not lying, like actually,
exactly,
like not even like being over exaggerating.
Like you guys have done it
genuine.
before.
No,
we've done it before.
Yeah,
100.
We genuinely.
Holy shit, that's
like,
crazy, dude.
And give us like from morning.
Yeah.
Like give us a solid.
That was at a 9 a.m. start.
Like a solid 12-hour time frame.
Yeah.
We can do it.
With stuff like I know, bro, it doesn't make sense at all.
That's crazy.
No, but that was with around I think 6 to 7 clients who were all over the place.
Ooh,
But the thing is, it wasn't just both of us. We had another few videographers with us, so we just told them 100 forms straight back to me. So how we did it was just we have a really solid team, and some clients want videos on the month itself. So we just pushed that out quickly. No matter how hard it is, bro, we haven't slept for.
I mean, if you genuinely ask us how do we do it, the only answer I can give you is we just do it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Bro,
like,
we wanted to get out of the 9 to 5. We started working 24/7.
Yes,
the
sir.
the answer is just that we do it.
Yeah,
There's no other way.
Exactly. What about
You
you?
know what
How do you handle, especially with long form and short form as well? It's
Yeah, so I think for us it's really a lot of planning, right? Like for you guys, I'm very sure like to be able to push out like 100, shoot 100 videos a day, right? There's a lot of planning, right?
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Like it's very difficult to just show up on set and be like, okay, let's vibe.
And then break it. Let's figure it out. Whatever floats your boat, we'll do it.
Yeah, like
exactly.
if we approach every shoot like that, right, we are cooked.
It's over.
It takes like what 15-30 minutes to just think, okay, now we're gonna do this, then we're gonna, what are you gonna say, right? It's a lot of planning and making sure that the client vets it before we show up to the shoot. So we do a lot of that, especially for our long form side of things. We do a lot of storyboarding, a lot of scripting to make sure that both my team is prepared, we know exactly what we need to do when we are on set, and the client is able to approve and vet through everything, right? Now actually I want to hear what are your thoughts. Like, what do you guys think is the difference between a videographer and a cinematographer?
A videographer is mainstream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A cinematographer is they learn all the angles. We've done cinematography and stuff like that as well, in terms of jobs and stuff like that. But we've learned like the videographers won't understand why this angle, why are we taking a close-up shot of this?
Yeah.
Why are we taking a subject focused shot of this?
Yeah.
Why are we doing it under the subject?
Yeah.
Why are you doing it over the subject? Stuff like that. Like in terms of if it's underneath the subject, there's more power towards the character and stuff like that. Cinematographers, in terms of they hold a bigger role in the whole media scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my intake. What about you?
I mean, for me, I think it's like the final product. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's going to be a very big difference between a cinematographer and a videographer. I mean, you can't compare like videos and stuff, like short movie films or like fan films to see on like Instagram or on TikTok and stuff, and comparing that to like a real life, Golden Village, big screen cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like that difference between behind the production and like the editing and the directing is like one of the main differences. But why not you tell us what's the main difference between a videographer and a cinematographer?
So I think yeah, like you were saying, a videographer is generally mainstream. Technically, if you want to go like really down to the details, the second you hold a camera and you take a video with it, you're a videographer. Right? That is the basic definition of it. A cinematographer understands more that there's more to just video, right? There are things like angles, there's things like a motivation for scenes and all. So what really sets a videographer and a cinematographer apart, like one very easy way to tell what's the difference is when you ask someone who does video, like what's the most important part of a set, and if they say anything other than lighting, they're cooked. It's all videographers. Yeah. As a cinematographer understands that lighting is actually the most important part of shooting anything, like anything that goes on camera.
Yes.
So what really sets apart, like what makes you hold that title, right, essentially is if you understand a video beyond just taking, you know, certain shots and stringing them together and telling a story. It's about how you take them, right? The different angles I said earlier, and how lighting affects your angles, and how these work in tandem together to create a very good shot that tells a certain story, that motivates the story, that has motivation for the character, and so on and so forth. And in my opinion, that's what makes a cinematographer.
As a social media marketing agency, with bigger corporations, we always tend to go for cinematographers, never videographers, because they understand stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they understand the storytelling in terms of, you know, the ads and stuff like that. So yeah, like obviously they cost a lot more.
Yes, definitely.
But in terms of production wise, it comes out way better.
This is the really real shit.
Now this is raw.
This is really
raw, man.
raw.
How does love affect business?
Yeah.
On the good days, when how do you say it?
When the ship is sailing.
When the ship is sailing, when it's waving, when the ocean is waving, cause you feel like you're on top of the world, you can build a whole empire.
Yes, sir.
But then the second something happens, and mind you, you're in love, so anything that ticks you off will make you vulnerable. It can affect your workflow.
Yeah.
It can ruin your days. It can, you know, stuff like that. But if you do have the right partner, if you have a partner that would support you no matter what, if you're going through an argument, for example, like let's say, okay, fine, you guys have an argument. The most mature person still can feel can be vulnerable after, because you're in love, bro. You know what I mean? There'll be days that it will affect you a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Personally and in business. But you just have to be prepared for it. If you're not prepared to get into a relationship while you're building an empire, then don't. Because it's seriously gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? Other than that, bro, there's beautiful things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot harder, especially with. So I'm from Melbourne. If there is someone from down there and I'm all the way in Singapore, it's so hard.
Yeah.
But it works. You can work. But it gets really tough. It just depends on how you guys both attack the situation and overcome obstacles. That's about it. You'll come from a very tough day. You've lost this X amount of money and stuff like that. You go home and she's just like, okay, are you okay? Da-da-da-da, let's go for a drive. Let's get off your mind. And stuff like that. It's perfect and
yeah, man.
That's why I appreciate when you know love like that was happening back then. But yeah, that's about it.
I'm a little bit different from you, because I met my girl before my business.
From the ground up, cuz.
Yeah, so shout out to my girl, definitely. Big shout out to her.
Got W, man.
Like, we met nine years ago. It's been a very long time. Yeah. And I only started building my business like 7-8 years ago. So she has seen me through many different phases of my life, just like I've seen through hers. It's a very beautiful thing, and definitely I'm very blessed to have her by my side, because like you said, she's one of those people who I know I can rely on. If something like goes bad in a business, like I lost XX amount of money, you know, I like botched a client meeting or something, right? I know that at the end of the day, when I go back to her, you know, she'll still be like, you know, it's fine, it's okay, there's always another time. Like, she reassures me, she tells me it's okay, even though, you know, for us at that exact moment we will feel like fuck, the world is falling apart around me, right? But she tells me that it's bigger than all of that, and she helps me realize that it is bigger than all of that. It's bigger than just losing a client. It's bigger than losing money. It's a whole life ahead. We have 24 hours in a day. If we are allocating time to things like our goal, like dating, we naturally have lesser time to other things like sleep, like rest, like work, right? And that means we can't put in 100% to work. And for me, at the very least, I am completely fine with that. I'm willing to sacrifice my work for her, right? Because that's how deep our relationship is. And the fact that I've met her before my business means that she is definitely a bigger priority than my business right now. At the end of the day, I think it's about balancing, knowing when is good to devote your time to your goal and when it's good to devote your time to your business. And if you're able to balance this, and if your girl understands, she is willing to support you, then this is pretty much like a perfect relationship. Because like we always say, what's that phrase? If you know, like when you are low, when you are like shit, if you came from nothing and this girl sticks by you or this guy sticks by you, right? Like they deserve everything when you make it. And definitely, like, because of the amount of shit I've gone through and the amount of shit that she's gone through with me, even at a relationship level, even at a business level, for me, I am willing to give her like everything when I do make it, right? Because she deserves it all. Because she was with me by my side when I started everything, literally.
I met her also before Hyperia and everything. I met her when I was just a wretched kid in secondary school doing stupid things, you know. So she has also seen my growth. I've also seen her growth. She's been me through the lowest of the lows and the highest of the highs. And thank every single god out there that she's like very, very supportive and amazing. Like she's very, very supportive. And like when I wanted to, you know, obviously venture out into like this kind of business kind of thing, entrepreneur kind of like feel lah, she was very, very supportive. I was initially very scared of telling her, you know, like just because of like judgment. Of course, judgment, you know, what she would think. She's like, is she gonna laugh at me? Like, what are you doing? Or like, is she gonna be like, you know, like, yeah, sure. But she was very supportive, you know. She was more excited than me, I would say.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Shout out Venus. Shout out Venus. You know, she was more excited than me, you know. She was excited for me. And that gave me more motivation, the more drive to go forward with it, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people would say, oh, you're so young, it's a distraction, or you don't know what is love, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like it's always the older people saying that.
Yes, sir.
But it's always them who also fall in love at like a, you know, like a younger age. Like,
no, I feel like it's because they didn't work out, so they're going to put it on us. I
Agreed.
still feel like in the 21st century, love does happen at a young age.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I always have a lot of people telling me that, especially my parents, I'll be honest, my parents and like the older figures in my life telling me, oh, it's a distraction, or wasting your time, blah, blah, blah. But no matter how much I explain, they also won't understand. But they genuinely fail to see the behinds of the scene, you know. They fail to see how mature we are. They also fail to see that we have our own differences, you know. We argue, we have our happy times, whatever. But they fail to see that, I think like even at a young age like us, since we're in such a modern generation, you know, we have seen it all. And we know how to learn from it. And in a way, learn from it and not repeat the same mistake. I feel like they think that we see the mistake and we will create the same mistake. But they fail to see the mentality that why not we see the mistake and we learn from it. You know what I mean? So I think that's what we do. And you know, it's been going amazing since secondary school, going on to 2 years now. Finding love with this generation is very, very difficult. Like I'll be honest.
Very true.
I'll be honest, for me, very lucky. I did not have to experiment with many before I found the one. I did not mean that in a bad way. Like I did not have to go through many heartbreaks to find the one. You know what I mean? I did not experiment as in like not hoeing around. Just like being in genuine relationships and finding the one. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm blessed in that way. To be able to learn what is true love at a young age lah. But finding pure and genuine relationships in this generation, cooked.